and welcome to WANA Live, the reading series of the Writers Association of Northern Appalachia. I'm your host, Damian Dressick. This is your other host,
Christina Fasonic. Good evening, Damian. How are you?
I am well, thank you. The WANA team has returned from its foray in the United Kingdom.
Yes, we're back again, and we are thinking, for all those of you who are watching, we're working on some programming in person, we hope, for fall, but nothing has been set in stone. So we hope to hold some meetings and get together and have some conversation about that pretty soon. But who do we have tonight?
Well, I'm going to talk about that, and we're very excited to have a new writer with us tonight. But I also, for those of you who are looking to submit to Appalachian Lit, hold your horses. We're working to just get our submittable account set up rather than just use an email. So it's taking a couple days longer than we thought. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, yeah. So tonight we are very excited. We have the Sylvia Woods. She has taught high school English in East Tennessee for 43 years. 43 years teaching high school English. And I've talked to her. She seems sane, which I cannot. If I taught high school English for 43 years. Anyway, she's a native of Eastern Kentucky, where her people have lived for over 200 years. Her poems have appeared in many literary journals and anthologies. What We Take With Us was her first full-length collection. It was published by Eastover Press. In her time, she enjoys volunteer teaching, hiking, and spending time with her brilliant granddaughters. So let's bring out Sylvia Woods.
Hello.
Good evening, Sylvia. How are you?
I'm great.
Good evening. Wonderful. And you were telling me a little bit about your granddaughters before we brought you out, and it sounds like they're awesome.
11-year-old Sadie and 16-year-old Addie, also known as Elizabeth, to everybody but the family, and they are brilliant.
Awesome.
I mean, I tell them all the time, I know a lot of teenagers, and you're brilliant and beautiful. So
awesome. Wonderful.
So your first book just came out last year, is that right? Or is it this year?
That's right. At 4/20/2021.
Last year.
Year, yes.
All right.
I'm thrilled to have it.
We're thrilled to have you. We are going to disappear and let you share your work with our audience.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Wearing my grammar girdle. Shedding my grammar girdle hilltop sighs onto blue lines fat on the page. Word endings gone. The very words poured out by uncles and aunts in stories on porches and dinner tables on Double Creek. Looking the lines like Mama looked soup beans, I throw out the little rocks and pieces of twigs, run my fingers over the mess, and feel the perfect shapes, silky, smooth. Them prepositions, sister, are the hardest to route. Like dandelions, they turn up in batches, pop onto the page, and take up lease as if they have a quitclaim deed. I pull in my gut, wince at what I up and done. My pen a willow switch, I whip across lines, scratch away the lazy words, and scream like my Aunt Alice yelled at the cat that climbed to the top of the Frigidaire. Get down all from up on top of there. And the second is taking Yeats to bed. I'm taking Yeats to bed tonight. Last night it was Wordsworth. The night before, a whole group of men from the South. I'm flexible, but selective. I won't take to bed with me, for example, anyone ultra-conservative or who insists in extreme regularity. I like guys who know something about music. Croon some blues in the middle of the night, tap out syncopated jazz, maybe even hum an old gospel tune. I don't have to go out looking these days. I've known most of these guys for years. Still, a new guy willing to risk it all can be thrilling. I've got my standards. I draw the line at a man who disrespects the South, denigrates the Appalachians, makes fun of Hicks and country bumpkins, poor white trash, or any of my other relatives. I once threw a man out of the bed when he was in the middle of telling his life story. Yeah, it was painful, the life he'd led, but he was boring. Sorry, Jack. When a man goes to bed with me, he better have something to say. He better say it with style, because I'm not afraid to slam his book shut and go to sleep. And a little change. Weeds and wildflowers. Dandelions polka dot my lawn in spring, announce it's time to mow. They stretch their necks through cracks in concrete, spread their seeds in the wind, intent on growing and living. My class is filled with dandelions, kids who grew up without fancy fertilizers like ballet lessons and new basketball shoes. I watch their faces flower through the cracks. I see them keep on. Even when mowers laid them to the ground, they rise up again and again. And the last one is the title poem of my collection, What We Take With Us. I make them memorize soliloquies, some lines to keep should they be taken prisoner, like John McCain, in some foreign jail, no words to read, no way to write, just the wild ranting of Hamlet, Macbeth, to take them through the darkest nights. I urge them to learn Dickinson's verse by heart, some Wordsworth, Whitman, Shelley, or Keats. I'd have them seal this music in their souls. High schoolers smirk at me. I smile, for I know of prisons closer home, where they will need some words that flash upon that inward eye in times when solitude is no bliss, those times of capture when we all are held against our will, in meetings so long our eyeballs disengage, in marriages bleak as dungeons, and fears so dark we see no light. The only comfort words we know for sure.
Oh, I really loved your work. That was wonderful. I have a lot to say, but I want to start with the last poem because I can't tell you how many times I've asked people, so what do you do when you're happy or when you're in a crisis or something and you don't have poetry in your head? Where do you go? I mean, the many times that I've recited in my mind about, wandering lonely as a cloud and, when lilacs last and the dooryard bloomed and all of those great pieces, I can't imagine how people just survive without having poetry in their heads. I mean, what do they do? I don't understand.
Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was so wonderful. And I really loved your poem about taking these writers to bed, these men to bed. And I thought for sure when you said you closed your book on his life story that you were referring to J.D. Vance.
I can't say what I would like to do for J.D. Vance, but he certainly doesn't know the Eastern Kentucky I do.
Oh no, he does not. And we've talked about him many a times on the show. And we have a commenter here who agrees. She says, "I can feel the authenticity of your language and imagery as it relates to your part of Appalachia. Also, sorry, Jack." She's right. So I really loved the wordsmithy of the, as an English professor, and someone who could spend my life just rolling around in words, I appreciated your poetry. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that second poem was, and also your reading of it was kind of really brought it wonderfully, deliciously to life. Thank you so much for that. Your last poem, though, too. I also was I was thinking of the idea of a long poem called "Taken Prisoner," like John McCain. And I was like, okay, this is this kind of poem. And I was so impressed with the way you brought that back to prisons closer to home. I was like, oh, boom. That's really, it speaks to, I think, a much, perhaps less harrowing, or likely less harrowing experience, but certainly one that's more common.
And there are, everybody's been in a long faculty meeting. I have been, certainly.
Yes, about those words.
Yeah, yes. I bought a shirt for next semester. I was at the Globe, but hell is empty, all the devils are here. Meeting.
That's great.
And we have a comment from our one of our regular viewers, Rusty Barnes. Thank you, Sylvia. Your poems today were wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
They really were. I loved the imagery and the wordplay and just everything. Could you show us your book again so people can go out and find it?
Yes.
Now, you worked with Denton Loving on this, is that right?
I absolutely did.
How did you meet Denton?
I've known Denton for a long time, and we are members of a writing group, and we used to meet once a month, and then the other two members went off and got MFAs, and they didn't have much time, but we still meet, not regularly. They were here a couple of weeks ago, and Denton Loving, I hope you're watching, Denton, is the smartest person. And he's also a good guy.
He very much is a good guy. Very much. I met Denton at Mountain Heritage Literary Festival, and then I was able to do a week's residency at the Orchard Keepers.
Oh, really? Oh, that's wonderful.
That was a good space to work. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Mountain Heritage Literary
right on.
many times. I didn't go this year or since the pandemic, but it's a wonderful place. And I submitted poems last year and got second place in their contest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But
very cool.
It's a really beautiful area. And not far from me. It's about
right.
I'm west of Knoxville, and it's about an hour and a half from me to get to LMU and Cumberland Gap and so on.
Yeah, LMU is a lovely campus.
Oh, it is.
We could not make it this year, but we're going to try and go next.
Good. I really like when we stay in the dorms. It was fun.
Right. Met so many cool people. All right. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for coming on and sharing your work with us.
Thank you.
And people can pick up your book via Amazon, via other BarnesandNoble.com, other folks.
Yes.
Okay, super cool.
A small bookstore may have to order it, but it's available for them to order.
Excellent.
Fantastic. And we did get a shout out here from East Tennessee. So Jane Hicks says she's watching from East Tennessee.
Yes. Jane Hicks is somebody you need to know. She's a wonderful poet.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Reach out to us, Jane. Thank you for being on, Sylvia. It was fantastic, truly. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely I will always, I'll keep in mind that second poem with the taking Keats to bed.
Yes.
All right. Have a great night, y'all. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.